Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
Theme song ends.
And this is the end of the theme song of the Biofriendly Show.
Oh, my goodness. I have a feeling, though, this week that the Halloween decorations are going to look better.
Yeah?
You want to know why?
Why?
Because last week we were Zoom.
Zoom.
The footage was like the grainy Zoom.
Yeah,
it's like in a distance and just looked like you said, like somebody just barfed up.
Yeah.
Or like Mustan said, that it looked, like a choice, like the spider did its business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's. I think also that we did a couple of small improvements.
Yes,
there were a couple of stretches of some webs.
Yeah,
we want to bring the goods to the biofriendly world.
Got to bring the goods.
To make people see that we care.
We do care.
We give a hoot.
Yeah,
we don't pollute.
We give a hoot. We give a hoot. We don't pollute.
That's another one you shouldn't mess with on this show.
That is it. Yeah. Owls.
The owl. The give a hoot owl.
Oh yeah.
The don't pollute owl.
Oh, okay. So maybe this was I don't remember the give a hoot owl as well as Smokey. So was it a campaign?
Maybe
same
it was
time?
bigger here than it was.
Possibly.
Although you were Oklahoma.
Hold your calls.
You were Oklahoma. They were big on not polluting.
Well, as soon as you said give it.
No, you're more litter.
Litter was a big thing.
Yeah.
I don't think we had as
Maybe
much.
Maybe California was more don't pollute.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. We definitely had the don't lay that trash on Oklahoma song. Don't lay that trash on Oklahoma, yeah!
Oh, I love it. Don't lay that trash on Oklahoma, yeah! Oh, man. That's it right there. That'll just save the world. Just that song is enough. Wow.
I think people from Oklahoma are going to be listening and going like, that's not even remotely the melody.
That isn't how it goes. You got it wrong.
I don't remember, honestly. We don't have anything spooky here yet in between us for those who are watching the show. But
we do have our magazine that we were featured in. Eden. We were featured in Eden magazine.
Yeah. Right at the beginning of time. Eden. We were in the garden of it. Yeah. Okay? So...
the gold one that you barely noticed right there.
Yeah, right there. The real small, small font.
That's us.
But you can see us nice and clear on page 36. So for fans of the show, I just want to say, guys, thanks to you,
we're blowing up.
We made it.
We're blowing up.
We're all over the world.
Magazines. We're winning awards.
Yes.
This is crazy.
As we confessed last time.
This is insane. This is crazy, man.
It is crazy. And it's still spooky time, which I love. This is one of my favorite times of the year. And this might be the first podcast that Noel kind of threw the topic at me.
Yeah.
He kind of said, "Hey, I'm thinking about this," and he sent me the topic. And I had to do a lot of reading because I was going, I don't know if I get it. That's what happened. It's kind of how it went down.
Whenever you don't get it, do you get close to whatever is near you and talk like really quietly like you don't get it?
Yeah, whenever you don't understand something, you have to just kind of get real soft and say, I don't get it. No, I get it. I think I get it now.
You get it. Okay.
I'm going to pitch it to you.
So you're going to explain it to me.
I'm going to explain to you what I think it is.
Okay.
And then we're going to see how wrong I am.
No,
and
you're going to. I believe in you.
You're
going to
crush it.
I'm ready. I'm ready to hear this. Let's go.
Okay. So he sent me kind of a piece. It was about, let me just say some of the title here. Okay. Department of Energy lobs green hydrogen brick at natural gas. So I was like, okay, the Department of Energy is throwing out this thing called green hydrogen. Green hydrogen. That's right. The subject.
That's it.
So I was like, what in the hay is green hydrogen?
Hydrogen's not green.
You're right. Exactly.
It's an odorless, colorless gas.
It is. And it's funny how many blogs that I would go to and I would write in green hydrogen and I would go read something and it would always like within the first two sentences, somebody would be like, how can something like a colorless gas like hydrogen be green, you ask? So a lot of people notice that as well. Yeah. So that's more the title of what its state is, and that it's non-emission forming. Like it's green, it's healthy for the environment. It's not actually the color green.
Yes.
But they have other hydrogens they reference in color. But before I get into that, what green hydrogen is?
It's not Kermit the Frog farting.
It's not. So the image of this episode is just Kermit just beefing.
Yep.
No. So what green hydrogen is hydrogen gas that is created when somebody uses electrolysis. They electrocute water, and it causes the hydrogen and oxygen in water to split.
Electrolyze water.
Electrolyze water.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Somebody wrote electrolysis, and I was like, isn't that when you get your hair removed? But,
Well, there's some similarities, but
okay.
yeah, but
okay.
yeah.
When you electrolyze water, and it splits these two things apart, and that's how you make the hydrogen gas. And in order to make it truly green, I'm using finger quotes for those listening.
For those who are listening on the podcast and not watching the
If you
YouTube.
can't feel the wind from my finger quotes, truly green hydrogen.
I added. Did you hear me? I added it.
I did.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
great. Tim would be happy.
Yeah.
There was some. Truly green hydrogen is that the thing that's causing the electricity to happen comes from a renewable energy like wind, solar.
Right.
Am I right?
If it's green hydrogen, it comes from a renewable source. Yes.
I did it, guys.
You did it.
I did it.
Yes.
Ba, 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 ba. Anyway.
which is different than, so like there's cars that have hydrogen that can power them, and there's a lot of, so there's something called a fuel cell. Right?
So just so you know, I didn't know that existed until you gave me this topic.
Really?
I did not know.
Okay, so tell me what a fuel cell is. Can you get this one?
Kind of.
Go for it.
So this is the rabbit hole that I went down. So
Yeah.
Noel threw his.
This is exciting. Jacob did all the research.
He
He's
threw
ready to go.
some smart stuff at
Today's
me.
the easiest day of my. I can just
like,
chill.
Do you want me to get you a drink?
This is it.
So,
Jacob's gonna explain it.
No, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do fuel cells as well. But the funny thing was, as soon as I read, okay, this is what green energy is, immediately my first thought, because we've covered batteries, we've covered fuels, we've covered that. I was like, well, why aren't they making a friggin' hydrogen powered car yet? And then I found out they
totally do.
They totally do.
Yeah.
And so they were called fuel cell cars,
Yes.
and they were different than electric cars
Yes.
because it was captured hydrogen and oxygen that were causing a reaction.
Yes.
And you can fill them up
Yes.
like you fill up at a gas pump.
Yeah.
And they can go longer normally than electric cars.
Yes.
So I didn't know they existed. And I have a very strong feeling that a lot of people listening may not know they exist.
Yeah. Well, they're not. They're not getting the same publicity. They're
Right.
There's some infrastructure involved, right?
Yes.
Because you need your hydrogen. Mm-hmm. So there's some problems with it, and people, of course, always think about Zeppelins, going over the sky and exploding,
Right.
and whatever else. But it's pretty darn. It's a lot. It's pretty safe. They've got it down. They've got it pretty good at this point. But yeah, no. So this exists. The technology exists. It's been. I mean, honestly, the first fuel cell was created in like the 1830s.
Really?
Yeah. So
I'm a little late to the party.
So it's something
fuel cells.
like there's so many technologies that were invented a long time ago that just kind of got ignored because they were. I mean, the reason, in case anyone's wondering, the reason that every car on Earth burns some kind of fossil fuel, as we like to call it, is because they're so abundant. It's because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
The idea was we need a really inexpensive, cheap way for people to be able to move these motorized vehicles.
Right.
So what's the quickest, easiest, cheapest form of energy that we can just burn and then have explode and move, and it was oil.
Wow.
And that's the only reason. That's why we are where we are. It's
and
because
hydrogen
it was easiest.
is more plentiful.
Yes.
There's more hydrogen of any other element. It is number one on the periodic table.
Yes.
It is numero uno, and there's more of it than anything.
It just was difficult at the time to separate from oxygen or methane and other things. Like that was the problem, was to get enough of it separated and then to move it around or store it was too difficult. And why are we going to bother doing that? And then after the Hindenburg, right?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Exploded. Then it was, like people were like, no.
It's the same problem that we discussed. It's the same problem that we discussed on nuclear, which is one bit of bad press can sometimes spiral it out of the conversation.
Absolutely.
And what's unfair is that gas has had
Gas,
not farts. Gas has had as many problems and issues, but somehow we're like, well, you remember what happened with the Hindenburg but it's almost like it centers around this one thing, and then nobody wants to talk about it.
Right. I mean, every
anymore.
time we just dump we dump oil all over sea life all over the world. People
Right.
are like, well, yeah, this is a disaster, but
we gotta have it. We gotta use it though, right? It is crazy how it happens.
No, I mean, and that's ladies and gentlemen, if you're wondering why we're so divided politically at the moment and socially, it's because
you're on Facebook.
Because folks are on Facebook. Because folks with money who have the power and the influence do a really good job of convincing people that they should think certain things.
Yeah.
So, there's been a lot of money in oil for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so, it gets a pass.
It gets a pass.
Well, it's not getting much of a pass anymore, but it was certainly getting a pass for a while. But back to the topic.
Back to the fuel cells and the hydrogen. Yeah.
So the thing that's interesting to me about green hydrogen, as opposed to the hydrogen that is being used to power fuel cells these days, right now it's natural gas for the most part. It's methane.
Right.
Again, we're just get back to farting, but this time it's cows farting. But it's natural gas that we're getting our hydrogen from, right? And then you basically you refine it. I mean, you it's a steam process. You get really high pressure, hot steam, and then that through that and catalysts, you're able to pull the hydrogen out of the methane.
Yeah. That's why it says in that title of the article, it's like the Department of Energy lobs this brick at natural gas because people in natural gas are going, oh no, right?
Well, because natural gas is currently primed. They're in prime position to take over. Like all that fracking that people say you shouldn't be doing, it's about to. I mean, it's going to get worse as things look now because that's what you got to. We need an answer if we're going to go renewable for the power backup.
Yeah, it's true.
And presently, natural gas is winning that argument, and it's very clean. I mean, not perfectly clean, certainly, but
a major improvement.
A major improvement, definitely better. Look, it's better than what we're doing now. So let's not go kicking natural gas in the butt too much. But it's. I mean, we can do better than natural gas, though. We can.
Yeah. Oh, I think so.
And I think the thing that's interesting to me about green hydrogen is. The idea is so electrolysis, right? So it's almost like reversing the fuel cell. It's similar to the fuel cell concept, honestly.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this. Like, how do I explain?
Okay.
How do I explain this? Most of these things, like anytime you're dealing with a battery or a fuel cell or even electrolyzing something, it's taking something that exists, it's throwing something in the equation to screw it up, and then sending it out somewhere else to then recombine it and turn it into something else. Kind of.
Right. Okay.
It's way more complicated. It's not more complicated, but that's the
gist of it.
This is my butt simple explanation. Ready?
Okay.
You're going into the tunnel of love.
Okay. You're going into the tunnel of love. I can't wait to see where this
is a complicated tunnel of love.
Okay.
Oxygen is that high school quarterback.
Okay.
Who's got two girlfriends.
Okay.
And the two girlfriends are the hydrogen twins.
The hydrogen twins.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with you.
So they're going into the tunnel of love.
The tunnel of love.
And then what you do is so once you get them in the tunnel of love, all you have to do is get something in the tunnel of love to scare the football player. Or pick up the football player by the head and just remove him.
Yeah.
So now he's been taken away from the boat. He's out of the boat.
He's out.
He either ran away screaming.
It was the Willy Wonka tunnel of love, the boat ride where everything's terrifying.
And he's like, ah!
And he's like, I'm out of here. And he ran.
And so the two hydrogens then, the two ladies, who thought, well, we're going to have a fun date with one guy.
In the tunnel of
quarterback. Love. These two ladies now go along the Electron River. All right.
Electron River.
And they work there, and they work their way around to the other side. And then in the process of going to the other side, it's the tunnel of love. But there's no quarterback. There's just the two of them.
Okay.
So they fall in love.
Oh.
And they hold hands, and it's two hydrogens now holding hands.
This is a beautiful.
And then and they come out the other side, and these two hydrogens they're either
together.
They're stored either underground or in a pressurized container, or in these two people, or they're put into a pipeline and they're sent to where they need them to go.
That's a beautiful image, and hopefully now you understand that green hydrogen is love.
It's love.
It's love, and it's getting that jerk.
It's getting that jerk quarterback out of the equation.
That's great.
It's setting him off on his own.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So that is my rough. Again, these are all rough explanations that scientists will just kick me in the face for, but they give you a really broad idea.
No, I get it. Yeah. I get it. The thing that's interesting to me is you mentioned the infrastructure part is the challenge. Right.
The
infrastructure is the challenge.
Yes, it is. Keep going.
That's the challenge. No, because what I've been trying to figure out is that we run everything on gas and cars and you fill it with that. But the system that's in place now that gets the gas to the car and that gets the oil, we can't use the same pipelines and systems in place for hydrogen, can we? We'd have to rebuild.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't quite work the same way.
It wouldn't work the same way. So we can't just
you need
swap
pressure.
out fuel.
You need pressure to keep a lot of this stuff. You need it to be pressurized.
Okay.
In order for it to stay as it is, and I suppose not every case, but basically that's what you need to do.
Right.
So because of the problem, you have to change things around, but you can store it. Like you can also just.
It did say that. You can store it.
Like that's a big point because fuel cells exist and you can essentially reverse the tunnel of love process and get you can do it over and over and over again and create oxygen and hydrogen fuel and you can create energy. You can create electricity.
Yeah.
Right. You can. That's what a fuel cell is.
Yeah.
So the thing that's exciting about it is one of the problems, the thing I harp about on this show a lot, and that I think a lot of environmentalists harp about who are looking beyond step one, but into like what's going on in the future is how do we have a renewable world without taking up all the land storing it?
Right.
Right. And so if you have extra wind energy on the coast, there's tons of wind on the coast, and we've talked about some of the issues with wind energy. But there's potential solutions to some of that, and also it works with solar too.
Yeah.
When you have extra energy that exists, if you can electrolyze it and store it as hydrogen, well, you now have essentially created a battery.
Right.
That's basically what you've made. You've made a battery that you can move around, you can take, or you can pipe places. You can build the infrastructure to send it around.
Yeah.
So it's another way to be renewable, to use and look, and you're getting it from natural gas. There's some pollution involved, right? There is. You get some carbon monoxide and a bit of CO2.
Yeah.
No, not a ton, but there's some there, right?
Right.
So this it's oxygen and it's oxygen and hydrogen, right?
Yeah.
So it's clean.
It's natural, and when it burns out a tailpipe, it's water vapor.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nothing.
Exactly. So we're talking about a clean option to store energy, and that really is the problems that we're looking at. In fact, it's funny. I was my son's math coach, right? Who's a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
Awesome guy.
Good on you. Yeah.
Yes. Dr. Chandler, Dr. Adam Chandler.
Yeah. Hey, not the Dr. Chandler we had on 2 weeks ago.
Different Chandler. There's so many Chandlers around.
Not Chandler Bing.
Yeah. Not
just to be sure.
Yeah. But he even said to me back then, he's like, when I was talking about environmentalism, he's like, I've often wondered why we don't look at fuel cells as storage, as battery storage, like or essentially what we're talking about here about green hydrogen.
Green hydrogen.
So it's interesting because people get like you think of a battery as the copper top, as a Duracell. You think of a battery as a lithium ion battery, and those are batteries. But all a battery is, really, like technically, gasoline is a battery.
Yeah.
It's. All it is stored hydrocarbons. It's stored energy that the moment you light it on fire gives you energy.
Right.
That's a battery.
Yeah, it's a battery is stored energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you think about it a little, and this is why the concept of let's pump water, like with dams, let's pump water away from the dam, and then when we need the energy, all that water that's been pumped up, we've stored all the energy by using electricity from the wind or from the solar, whatever else, using electricity to push it up so that it's not coming out yet, and then when you need it, you'll let it go, and out it comes, and now we're generating electricity with the dam. Well, that's a battery. That's turning a dam into a gigantic battery because you're just storing the energy. And that's what to me was interesting about green hydrogen is that it was like, okay, well, so this might be one of, I'm sure, our many options that we'll come up with later, that we'll show later on the show, to make renewables work. Because I do want to make renewables work. I know that I am the one who's always doubting everything.
No, I think you're just the voice of reason, which is people, like we've talked about on the show before, it's really easy to be like solar, wind, and not factor in the consequences of them because we're so focused on how to fix the problem. We're not looking at what the problem comes with those things, right? So I don't think that you're a naysayer. I think it's like, well, let's logically look at both sides. Yeah. The thing about green hydrogen that's interesting is that it seems to be that in the United States, it hasn't really taken hold yet. But when I was doing the research, it was like, European countries, Australia, whatnot, this has already kind of taken hold in terms of like what they're trying to do right now.
Totally. Well, the Netherlands, man, because of how close, like they're pretty low. They're close to the water. There's water
everywhere,
all over it,
right,
man? Yeah. I mean, that's why you've got these wonderful canals everywhere, and you've got they've had the stuff they've had to figure out in Rotterdam and places like that in order just to keep the area working. It's pretty brilliant. Yeah. Netherlands is a pretty awesome place. Anyone,
I'd like to
go there. Not necessarily just for the other green reason that lots of people go there,
right?
But go there for the green,
for the environment.
The environment.
Go for multiple green reasons. You go to the Netherlands, right?
But they have tons of wind energy.
Yeah,
like they have more of it than they can use.
Yeah.
So this is for them. It's a really great way for them to be like, hey, who needs some power, some green energy?
Because we have more than we could possibly use.
Yeah, which is what you want.
Yeah,
that's what you want. Like you want to have more energy than we need, and you want to be able to store it, and then you get it right. Because if you have too much, then you can always cut back.
Netherlands, way ahead of everything. I tell you. Yeah, but also, so it was saying that, on this video I was watching, Australia was like, they're a big exporter of coal, big exporter of natural gas. People really lean on them for that, but they were like, we could be possibly one of the biggest, if we really invest in this, we could become one of the biggest exporters of hydrogen.
Well, I mean, just when you talk about wind, like energy on the coasts, like what they're doing in the Netherlands, I mean, it's not like we lack for water. Like we have a gigantic coast on the left and a gigantic coast on the right, and even a gigantic coast on the south.
That's true.
I mean, we've got water all over this joint.
Coast to coast, baby. Yeah. Coast to coast. Well, I was going to read some of the so I did my explanation of what I thought it was. Noel did his tunnel of love analogy. But I'm going to read. So this is from Green Tech Media, and it just basically says, okay, what is green hydrogen? For a colorless gas, hydrogen gets referred to in very colorful terms. See, there it is. So it basically says, Kermit. It says, so this is what I was talking about earlier about different colors of gases that they refer to. They say most of the gas that is already widely used as an industrial chemical is either brown. It's made through the gasification of coal or lignite. Am I saying that right? Lignite. Or gray if it is made through steam methane reformation, which is what you were talking about earlier, which typically uses natural gas as the feedstock. Neither of these processes is exactly carbon friendly. So a purportedly cleaner option is known as blue hydrogen, where the gas is produced by steam methane reformation, but the emissions are curtailed using carbon capture and storage. This process could roughly halve the amount of carbon produced, but it's still far from emissions free. Yeah. So green hydrogen, in contrast, could almost eliminate emissions by using renewable energy, increasingly abundant and often generated at less than ideal times to power the electrolysis of water. So they use the electrolysis word again. Yeah.
There's that word.
There's that word again.
There's that tunnel of love.
There's that word again. So that's kind of what this technology is. And then, I found that it seems that the cars, the hydrogen fuel cells.
Your lighting is beautiful all of a sudden. You look so, wow, what is it about your eyes? There's a sparkle.
This site wasn't on dark mode, so it it's illuminating my face.
It's hilarious.
But I was doing it for Halloween. I was doing the leprechaun.
Oh, totally. Leprechaun. So for those of you who are listening and not watching, his iPad, the brightness on the site, it was like a flashlight.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say is that the cars, the hydrogen fuel cell cars that they have, it also didn't take off because it looked like they were more expensive. Yeah. Like it looked like when it compared to, in Teslas and those are expensive, and then they're making electric cars obviously more lower priced. But it seems that they haven't quite figured out. So we need somebody cool and hip to come along and make a fuel cell car that really captures the hearts and imaginations of the people of the world.
Yeah.
We need somebody to figure out a way to make it as a less expensive thing, I think, if it's going to
Yeah,
take
well,
off.
I mean, just like everything else, the thing that's really exciting to me about the time we live in, and I know it's 2020, we're all gonna die. There's
Everything is
what was the thing
just
that you
going
said that
to
was
crap.
so right today about the election?
I said, our phrase that we said in the office.
Imagine the negative or something. Well, like so if you're now this is okay. We're gonna go political, folks. We're doing it.
Oh boy,
We're doing it.
Turn up your radio.
Turn up your radio. If you support Trump, then you should imagine in your mind that Biden's definitely going to win.
Yes.
Today. If you support Biden,
you
then you should
go
imagine
ahead.
in your mind that Trump is just going to win.
Yeah.
And
just do yourself a favor. Get there
If
mentally.
you get yourself, because obviously we're a little divided at present.
Yeah.
So if you that's your thought right now.
Yeah.
Just like go ahead and commit to, oh man, we're gonna lose.
Yes.
Because it could get brutal on the day after the election.
Yes, it could.
It could. And if you have yourself in the frame of mind where you're already expecting what for you is the worst, it'll be easier to handle the madness that day.
Exactly. And from this moment, we said to each other, look, we're not gonna make it, but don't give up hope.
Don't give up hope. This is our new phrase. We're not going to make it.
We're not going to make it.
Don't give up hope.
But don't give up hope.
Yeah.
So we're going to tell you right now, it probably isn't going to work out in your favor. But,
don't give up.
Keep hope alive. So, off that tangent.
And that is how we feel politically.
That is how we feel right now.
No, we believe it. In all honesty,
things are going to be okay, guys. And to the kids that love listening to our show, a lot of this, you've listened long enough now. We like to joke. We like to be silly. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We always have been fine. And thanks to shows like the Biofriendly Podcast that are giving you ways that you can help the planet. At the end of the day, just help the planet. All that other stuff is going to just work itself out. And
as I was going to say before my tangential, but worth it. Yeah. Before we went on the last tangent is though the world is obviously ending and disaster looms 2020 blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool time to live because
elaborate.
Look at how many things people are coming up with right now.
Yeah.
Look at the amount of interest in people not just saying it. It has shifted. It is shifting, and it will keep shifting. It has shifted from don't have babies because mankind is the disaster. Even being alive is an environmental disaster.
Is a burden for all of us.
Right. Or let's live in caves and let's stop building things and let's stop using. We have to live one with nature or not at all and get back to caveman times. Right. Which is a point of view.
Sure.
And has the most extreme green point of view that there is.
Yeah.
But what's nice, and I think an unrealistic one for most people at this point. Yeah. In the world.
Yeah.
So what's exciting is that you can see the shift from militant green, and I think this because of I think we did it. By the way, it's our fault.
It is our fault.
We changed the world, Jacob.
We take
That's why we're in the
responsibility.
Smithsonian.
Yes. If you change the world, there is a consequence.
There's a consequence.
Yeah.
The consequence is you're awesome.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh, yes. So it's a cool time because it's shifting away from that. And from it shifting, you see people saying, okay, how can we come up with a solution that's a little better? How can we get incrementally better? How can we do, what's this? And maybe we find that electric cars are good for the near term, but maybe they don't give the final solution and we do have to come up with something else. Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
We're on a journey, man.
Yeah. You know how people who are scientists, they always say Einstein or Tesla or, not Elon, Tesla himself, Nikola Tesla. Yeah. Einstein. They always say that they found the Newton.
Not Fig Newton.
Not Fig Newtons, but Newton. If you're a scientist or an inventor, you usually have to make all the mistakes in order to find the...
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? What they would say?
I saw the coolest Neil deGrasse Tyson
bring it
on that, where he was talking about the troubles you have in science is that you don't know yet.
Yes.
And it's so easy when after it's over and you figured it out to be like, oh, well, that is what it is. This is how it works.
Yeah.
Because you now know how it works.
Yeah.
But before you know how it works,
Yeah.
you don't know how. It's a mystery, right?
Yeah.
At the time when Neptune was discovered, I think is what he's saying, and you should find this. I think it's called Science is Hard. With
Okay.
Neil, it's on Neil deGrasse Tyson's podcast.
I'll check it out. I love that.
show.
I love that guy.
YouTube channel actually, but yeah, like how Neptune, like at the time, all there were the planets you could see in the sky.
Sure.
That's so like the ones that were obvious, Mars, Venus, right? Like the ones you could see that were there, and then it was comets.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that astronomers knew about. And there was this one clear, gigantic, weird comet that a scientist found that he didn't know. It's totally odd. It's like in a much more predictable pattern, and it's pretty bright for where it is, and it's like and he didn't know what it was. For a long, it was just called a comet. For a long time, they just called it a comet, and they realized, oh my God, you've discovered a planet.
Wow.
Right? And he didn't know what he discovered because at the time they thought there was no thought that there were more planets. That wasn't a thought.
Right.
The planets are clearly what you can see because anything else that's not a planet.
Right.
This was beyond that. This was seen through differences, through looking at, like, you take a picture of this nice guy a couple times, and if something's different, it's moved. And then what is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And that's basically still how they do it.
Yeah.
So it's all right. So you get this problem of just like how do you name or discover or even know that you found something when you have no other reference point for what that is?
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's like, oh, there's this planet. Now they start looking for planets. You see this, like, there's this gravity change around it. There's something wrong with it. Well, how could that be? If it's a planet, there shouldn't be this gravity change. Well, we should do a reverse math equation. And some genius comes up with a reverse math equation, and then they pull it out and they go, oh, well, look at that. Uranus. There's another planet. Look there and you'll find it. And they look there, and lo and behold, there's another planet. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. And all that's talked about is the discovery of the planet.
Right.
But not the journey and how difficult it was with no reference to even figure out that it's a planet until you figure it out.
He thought it was a comet.
Right.
Right. He didn't think he knew it was a comet. This is a comet. It's just a really odd comet. And why is it wobbling? Like why is its pattern so funny?
Yeah.
Anyways, the story goes on. You should listen to it. It's a just fascinating story about how
I want to check that out.
How it goes from there to it goes into Pluto. Like why people thought Pluto was a planet, and why Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of the people who's he's the foremost person blamed for having Pluto no longer be a planet.
And for those who don't know why it is, the simplest reason is that it didn't meet the size criteria.
It's tiny.
It's too small.
It kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And he talks about that, and it's a great listen. But it's like Pluto. They found a problem with Uranus's orbit.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, well, there's a problem with this. I'm ruining his whole story.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But it's like they found a problem with Uranus's orbit, and they're like, well, there must be Planet X.
Yeah.
And that's why there's been a search for Planet X.
Right.
Is because of the same problem that how Uranus was discovered was because of a problem in the way that Neptune was moving.
Yeah.
And the same thing was happening with Uranus, or so they thought.
Right.
And so when they found Pluto, they're like, oh, well, that must be the planet. And so when they first thought Pluto was Pluto, they thought it was way bigger than it is.
Right.
Because it had to be way bigger than it is in order to do what it was doing to Uranus.
Yeah. And then when they realized the problem why they had to take it out, again, it was that there are plenty of asteroids and things that are larger than Pluto. So they were like, if we deem Pluto a planet, then we have to technically say all these other massive bodies are planets as well, if we have that as the criteria. And so they're like, well, we can't technically say it's a planet anymore, because then we open up to, like, guess what? Our solar system has 280 million planets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
the sizes are all off.
Size matters.
Size matters
afraid.
When you're in astronomy. It does.
Right.
But anyway,
look, and it's Pluto has a moon that's basically the same size.
Yeah,
it's like it's like an equal thing.
Yeah, it's just another
spinning around
two,
it.
Like this.
It's So there's a problem. Well, we got into
but no. To the point.
Somehow.
No, to the point, which was we were talking about the discovery and why we got here.
Right.
Was that 2020 is that.
2020 is
the research somebody wrote along the way when they're, the joke being 2020 is the worst year ever and all these catastrophic things are happening, and we've made plenty of jokes towards that, but you realize that in order to find the solution and in order to find green hydrogen, in order to find technologies that are going to make an improvement, it requires an enormous amount of try, right? And so 2020 is literally us trying to fix and break down and repair. And so it requires a lot of kind of discomfort and hurt and uncomfortability. But what we can all hope is that we all emerge the other end and go like, that's what we needed. We needed to go through that in order to see what we need to see.
Right.
I think that's
and also,
what I feel.
think that 2020 is a really great example of how good things actually are. Hear me out.
Okay, I love it. I'm going to take all these sound bites and just isolate them and put them out of context. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding.
You need to just destroy me.
Yeah, that's the plan.
But hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay.
All right. Are anyone's high school graduates being sent to Europe to fight a legitimate fascist army that is taking over the entire continent?
No.
Okay, that happened before.
It did.
Okay. Are anyone's husbands, children, friends going literally to Vermont to fight other Americans to the death in order to keep the country? That's not happening right now.
No, it's not happening. November 3rd. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it depends on when this airs, but no, I'm just kidding.
Right. No, you have people fighting for equal rights in a way that they haven't really in a very long time. Not since Dr. King, probably. Maybe Malcolm X had some good stuff happening, but I mean, it's like there's a lot happening there. The women's rights movement has look at what Me Too created a much safer environment, certainly in Hollywood and in other places, and that's happening. That's being looked at. It's like these. I think that if you look at the problems we have in 2020, they're good problems to have. Yeah. Okay. We're fighting to be more perfect. We're fighting to get to a place where you've got fair shot for anyone and for everyone. Yeah. And there's some growing pains with that, and there's some complications with that, and there's some difficulties. And there's a virus, but you want to know something? The one that happened, the Spanish flu, killed a heck of a lot more people.
It did.
It was a lot worse. Yeah. And that happened before. Yeah. The Black Plague killed a heck of a lot more people by percentage. And it's probably actually, I should look it up. Yeah. But we've had what's happened like this, and we've had it worse. It has been worse. Right. And the inequality we worry about, and the fact that things are unfair that we worried about, all that, this is all true. Yeah. It's not that it isn't true. The point is, it actually is better than it has ever been. Yeah. Ever.
Yeah, because we're making progress.
Like ever. Yeah. At any point in history. Yeah. The fact that we want to do better and it's not good enough is correct. And that's fair. Yeah. And I think that the fact that the struggle right now in 2020 is based around that is actually should be looked at as a positive. Like we are fighting for better things. We're fighting to get better. We're fighting to get perfect. We're fighting to make it perfect, which it should be. And that's good that we're fighting for that. Yeah. But, again, economically, the Great Depression, the winter after Roosevelt got elected. Yeah. When Hoover was on, and back then you didn't change over the government till like March. Yeah. There were 3 months where you had a lame duck president and a depression, and it was winter. And there's nobody helping anybody. The country, we're having a bad time now. Don't get me wrong. I know it's a bad time, and I have sympathy for everyone who's dealing with that. And we need to fix it. I'm not saying we don't. Right. But what I'm saying is, then, holy hell. Right. It we have gone through this before, and we've come out of it better. Yeah. So let's come out of it better.
Let's come out of it better. Absolutely. And we are a show that believes in fighting for what you believe in and standing up for what you believe in. And, jokes aside, we are here to inspire and to motivate. And we know that it's been a hell of a year. And as we're getting closer to the end of it, we're in October now. We've got an election, we've got a few more months, and then it's the holidays, then bada bing, bada boom, it's 2021. And I think everybody likes to believe that in 2021 it's all going to miraculously change, but it won't.
No,
it won't.
It'll be a process,
It'll still be a process, and so we got to just keep doing our best to fix things.
Yeah, and look, help each other out, man. Yeah. Help each other out. Like we've got to stop. We got to stop kicking each other. We got to stop fighting each other. We're not in the end. in the end, we are on the same team. No matter how red or blue that jersey looks, in the end, we are in this ship together.
You are in the tunnel of love.
Ship
you did say.
with a P. I don't want to be.
Back to your point.
Yes.
We're in the tunnel of love.
We're in the tunnel of love.
And that other hydrogen over there is just like you. Even though you think they're not, they're just like you.
We just got to get rid of that
And
stupid
so you got
quarterback.
to get that quarterback out of there. And when you get through the tunnel of love, you're going to figure out that you two are one and the same. And you got to come together. And then what are you going to do? You're going to make energy.
You're going to power the world.
You're going to power the world. And that is the metaphor that we have, which is you need to power the world. And in order to do that, you have to come together with the other hydrogen molecules.
That's it.
That is it.
That's the Biofriendly Podcast.
I mean, you may have thought we were on a tangent about the world in 2020, but no, it comes right back to green hydrogen,
That's
and we still
correct.
made it work.
That's correct.
Wow, that's
we
it.
knew all along.
We knew all
that
along
this was exactly
while we were talking about all
come
that other
back.
stuff that we knew that we would definitely come back. We wrote it out.
We wrote it out.
On a script.
100%. You know how much time I have to work on scripts.
You and I memorize our lines before this begins.
100%. If it wasn't obvious. By
So
the way,
obvious.
I mean, the amount of time we spend trying to seem off the cuff.
I know.
People would.
All the uhs
Do you know
and interruptions
some
that we
people,
have.
Some people might believe that right now. They might be listening to the show and be like, "Oh, they totally do script it."
We do not.
They're that good at acting. What good actors we would be?
We would be, let me tell you something. If this show was written down, then we would do a remarkable job at convincing you that we're
terrible.
That we're
at
terrible
acting.
and that we're
No.
yeah. But that's green hydrogen. I mean, to come
That's
full
it.
circle, green hydrogen is something that I think, the last thing I was going to say is Goldman Sachs was like, green hydrogen is going to be a $12 trillion business. So we should get into it.
Well, I mean,
So I don't know. Can we start making green hydrogen now? Like, can we get in the green hydrogen game?
sure.
Okay, because I was like, that was one of the articles that said it's going to be $12 trillion industry.
What Goldman Sachs is trying to do is have you invest in companies that are working on green hydrogen. That's what they're
That's what they're trying to do.
because then they can take their cut, and then they can eventually have another 2008 disaster like they did last time, and just ruin us all.
Right? So that article was literally just to get you to buy.
Bye. I know. I guess so many random things. Again, so many random things come across my desk, but I thought that was interesting. So
Yeah,
I'm glad.
I'm glad you did it because it was I think maybe one or two other times in the history of the show you've had a topic that you've said, I want to discuss this and this is something I'm interested in, and so I've looked into it. But this was one where literally, I was worried at first because I started reading the thing that you sent over and I was like, this is kind of going over my head. But once I dug in, there's a lot of resources out there that'll say, what is green hydrogen? And it explains it in a very, understandable way. But it's just like we talked about. It's just we're searching for ways that we can produce energy. And especially with our concerns that we've raised about batteries and mining and the stuff that you have in electric, is that we do need something better than that. We need something better than that. And so could it be hydrogen? Maybe. It might not be. But the point is we have to constantly be trying to figure out what is that resource that we can produce, that we can generate electricity, generate power, and it has the least amount of a negative impact on the planet.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Right? If you find out that it's owls, then we have to use
Then
owls.
we have to give a hoot
We have to give a
and
hoot
not
about
pollute.
bookend.
Bookend.
It's perfect.
I feel like because after them, I feel like I was a little insensitive with my 2000 comment. And I want to make sure that
You mean your 2020 stuff?
That I do have sympathy for, because there are definitely people suffering right now. And I'm not saying they're not.
No.
And I'm realizing that I might have, because I know that they are.
No.
You
said that when you were saying it.
Yeah, okay, good.
You said it when you were saying it. And this is the thing. Noel.
Because I don't want people to suffer. I do want perfection. This is what I want. I just want people to remember that we're on the process.
We're on the
And
process.
if this is the worst ever, then it's getting better.
It's getting better all the time, as the Beatles said.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue doing this show and, sharing information and educate the public about things that they can do. And at the end of the day, we just want you to know that we stand with you. We support you.
Yes.
We want the human race to survive and to come together. And
We want all the other races to survive too. The turtle race.
The turtle race. All
The
species.
fish. race.
We want the species to survive.
We want to win the whale race.
We want to win the whale race, but we want you to come together.
I want to ride the fastest whale, and I want to win.
And ride the whales. We want everybody to come together because the next few weeks, next few months are going to be divisive, and there's going to be a lot of negativity out there. And so this is a safe place for you to come. And when we joke and we're silly, we're just having fun.
That's a great thing you just made me think of.
What?
If you are listening to this podcast right now and something is distressing you, and you want us to try to find a way to cheer you up about it or to talk about it or to get into it, send it on in. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Add us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tweet. Yeah. Tag us. We have our Twitter. You can do Biofriendly1 when that's ONE. So Biofriendly1. You can tweet at me. You can take
it to the Painless Green.
Take it to the Painless
Green,
Green,
which is our Facebook group. So
which
you go
is
to
our
Facebook
group.
and you look for the Painless Green on Facebook.
Yep, and you have to join. You have to join. That's the only way you can reach out. So you have to join that way.
Right.
And we of course have the regular awesome Biofriendly Planet Facebook group, which you can go there to see all the stuff that we're posting.
And that's a place to talk to us.
Yeah, you can talk to us there. But if you really want to talk to us, you got to do Painless Green.
Yeah.
And then
we'll leave a comment on YouTube. We'll find that there.
YouTube is a good place.
Talk to us.
Yeah.
If you need a little bit of love, we'll send you some love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've listened to it before. There was something, I'm forgetting the reference. I was going to talk about a subject and we on the show, we referenced something.
Yeah.
And one of our listeners wrote in a tweet well, I think that might be a topic that would cause more problems because this species. And I was like, oh, good point. And so I absolutely steered away from that topic because I was like, yeah, I agree.
Wow.
Good call.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it was about sharks.
Yeah.
It was about sharks.
Yeah.
It was about.
We want the shark race to win too.
It was a listener. It was James Clare, who's in the UK. He's a good friend of the show, supports the show. We were making a joke about the most scary animals because we did one about endanger.
Yes.
And his feeling was that what can happen with that is that if you talk about how a species or animal is scary, then you might make them
want to kill it.
Yes.
People want to destroy all the sharks.
And so he was saying,
sharks are beautiful.
So he wasn't saying to me don't do that. He was just saying you should be aware that it's just like with pit bulls and whatnot. Whenever bad press goes around a certain kind of animal, it can cause a lot of problems for that animal.
Right.
And so I immediately was like, absolutely, good point. We will not make a podcast about the scary sharks because sharks need to be protected and taken care of.
Absolutely.
So I listened to you, James.
Wow. See? You're already making a difference, audience.
Already making a difference. So write in, let us know. And if you got something you want us to talk about, we'll do it.
And tell your friends. Tell your friends, folks. Let them know we're here.
Yeah.
Biofriendly Podcast.
We never move from these chairs, so just let them know we're here.
Yeah. Tell a friend. That's our thing. Let people know we exist. We'd love to talk to all of you. We'd love to do our job here. We're having fun with it. So help us out.
This has been the Biofriendly Podcast, your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Featuring greater parasympathetic nerve activity.
More than just charismatic megafauna.
Dolphins don't quit.
Nature is perfect. Look at eggs.
We are y'all inclusive.
Don't mess with Smokey on this show.
And we want to win the whale race? No, I did.
Well, we said we're not going to make it, but don't give up hope.
We're not going to make it, but don't give up hope.
Is that worthy?
That's
Is that
it.
worthy? Is that too dark of a way to exit?
It's totally dark.
It's dark, but you know what? That's what we got to go with. Yeah. So there we go.
Yeah.
Bye!
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.